Flix with the Hicks, where we tell you about the movies. We tell you if they're great or if they really stink. Now it's time to start the show. Yeah, now it's time to go. Guess what? It's Flix with the Hicks.
Hey folks, welcome to another episode of Flix with the Hicks. I'm Greg, this is my lovely wife Janet, and each episode of Flix with the Hicks, we review two films. We review the worst film that we saw on DVD recently and the best film that we saw on DVD. And this week, or this episode, Janet got tasked with picking the worst film of the week.
Sure enough. And what it is called And So It Goes. Okay? And it was in 2014, and I was not impressed. It's about a realtor, Michael Douglas. Orrin Little is his character name, and Diane Keaton. And he's a real jerk. His wife dies. Diane Keaton's the neighbor. Her husband dies. Okay. His son Luke, which they haven't really spoken to or did anything with for years, drops off his 10-year-old daughter, which is, Orrin's granddaughter, to stay with him. Orrin, or Michael Douglas, is a real jerk to the neighbors, to everybody. He's trying to sell this property for way overpriced and stuff like that. And he's just a real jerk throughout. And Diane Keaton and him eventually bond. But the 10-year-old daughter was trying to actually calm him down and stuff. And, he's not great with kids. He doesn't like kids. He doesn't like neighbors. He doesn't like nobody. But the movie wasn't very good, okay? Just wasn't. And it was made for $18 million, and it made like $25 million. That's all. But, Rob Reiner was the director, and usually his movies are pretty good. This was not so good.
No.
I really didn't care for it. And it kind of drug out a little too much.
It drug out way too much. And my biggest problem with this film was I really like Michael Douglas, like a lot of his movies. Mm-hmm. I really like Diane Keaton. Mm-hmm. And I thought, when I saw this, okay, this is going to be a good film. Got ready to watch it, and the first half of the movie, I kept thinking, it's got two great actors in it. It's going to get better. It's going to get better. But it never does.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't.
And it just drags on. Yeah. It has a slow pace to it. Mm-hmm. And to me, Michael Douglas' character was just an unlikable human being. Mm-hmm. He just wasn't. Mm-hmm. He just was.
Right.
And you think that he's going to get better and better and better throughout the film, and he does somewhat, but it just it was an uninspiring movie.
Yeah,
it was literally let's take two good actors, put them in a low budget film, we'll make money off of it, and it just didn't appear that.
Well, they're both getting older too, so as actors, I don't know. They could have picked better roles, or maybe because they are older, they took this. Maybe they think I don't know why, but it just, and they didn't really click.
I don't think either of them are going to put this on their resume to bring in front of production companies when they're looking for another role.
Right. No way. Okay, I would rate this probably maybe 25, maybe. I wasn't impressed, but I like watching both of those, but not together, actually. I think they could have chose one or the other to be different to make it better.
Yeah. Okay. I'd give it a 31. 30.
Okay.
I mean, it was, like I said, it was uninspiring.
Right.
I sat through the whole thing, and literally, even at the end, I'm thinking, it's going to get better, and then it ended. And I was like, it never did.
Right.
It was like the closing credits were the best part of the film.
There you go.
know, so.
Well, okay, baby. What was your movie?
All right. I've got a doozy here. One that I had never heard of this film. I didn't really know the actors in the film. Bella. It was made in 2006. It had a budget of $3.3 million.
That's all?
Yes. And it made $12 million.
That's
so
it?
It was not a big movie.
Right.
And when I looked it up, critics were giving it not very good reviews. They said it was too much like other films. But the audience score was tremendous. It was really good. So, anyways, basically, the film stars Tammy Blanchard. She plays Nina. Eduardo Verastegui, who played Jose, and Manny Perez, who plays Manny. And the film basically is I like to say it's a character movie. It's a people movie. There's not any real action in the film, but this film, from 10 minutes into it, I was hooked.
And it's emotional.
Yes.
It's emotional, and it's got some issues that are kind of political, but it's made from the personal side of the issues.
Yes. It's basically Eduardo's character, Jose, is the head chef at his brother Manny's restaurant. And Nina is one of the waitresses. And at the start of the film, Nina arrives late to work the second day in a row.
On her third day.
Well, she had one. This was her third time to be late, but it was 2 days in a row.
Yeah.
And Manny, the owner of the restaurant, fires her to set an example. Well, Manny's kind of a hard ass.
Yeah, he like all ritzy and like
Yeah.
thinks he's all that and all that.
Well, Jose thought that his brother was being too harsh in firing her, so he went outside as Nina was leaving the restaurant after she had been fired, and he found out that Nina was pregnant, and that the reason that she was late the last 2 mornings was because of morning sickness. And as she's walking away, she drops a teddy bear. Jose goes over, picks up the teddy bear, catches up to her, and gives it back to her. And they talk for a minute, and Jose decides to spend the day with her, take off work and spend the day with her. That she really needs somebody to talk to. And so anyways, on a subway trip, they decided to go to the beach and go do a few things. And
he's a chef. He's an excellent chef.
Yes.
And he's worked in other places in the area.
Yes, he has a rising career as a chef. And so anyways, on a subway trip to a restaurant where Jose is going to take her to have lunch, she confides in him that she's not going to keep the baby, that she's going to get an abortion. Well, Jose, you can tell, starts trying to
talk her out of it.
Right. Try to talk her out of it. And
in a mild way.
Yeah. And
it's a good movie. You can't tell the whole story.
No, I'm not going to. I'm not going to. But needless to say, Jose ends up finding her another job at this other restaurant, and then takes her over to his family's house, where he ends up telling her a story that happened to him that was a tragic story that left him depressed and suicidal.
Yeah.
And so anyways, throughout the entire film,
you get both sides of what's happening to her now, what's happened to him in the past, and they had a connection, and it's heartwarming, heartbreaking, and it gives hope in some aspects, and then you're thinking, how can you live? Oh man, how can you live with yourself? There's all kinds of different emotions there, and I liked the movie.
I did too. And
I did.
The thing that threw me with this movie is usually I'm not interested in films like this. Films that are more character based rather than being an action movie or a western or something like that. But this one just grabbed my attention for some reason, and it was not really a very well-known film at all.
Yeah.
But the acting in this movie was fantastic. Everybody in this movie was just fantastic acting.
There's one part that really bothered me, near the end, where, anyway, I can't tell you because I'll give away the whole story. But that bothered me because, I guess that's the only way it could have been.
Yeah. Well, the cinematography in this film I really liked.
Yeah,
a lot of it was shot in handheld cameras, and so there was a little movement of the camera when they were walking and
or
stuff.
like in the subway.
But it made this film feel more real, like you were there. But it was a very well acted movie.
Oh yeah.
And I liked all of the actors in this film. In fact, there's some really funny parts when he takes Nina to his family's house for dinner, and his brother is there with his new girlfriend, and his brother's hilarious. So, but it was really a good film. I would highly recommend it. I'm going to give this film 0 to 100. I'm going to give it a 90. I thought it was that good, and I don't know how come they didn't promote this film more, because this film could have been a sleeper that became a small blockbuster. It was that good a film. Yeah.
Well, it's not one of those big action-packed, big name actors and all that, and so it would take a bigger budget to get this promoted.
Yes.
In which they didn't have. So, but I still love the film. I'll give it 87. But would you like to keep that movie?
Definitely.
Okay.
Definitely.
That's what I'm thinking too. And it's something that with family members, close family members, you'd share it with.
Yes.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I found out, because I didn't know any of these actors, I had to look them up. And then when I looked them up, I was having problems pronouncing their names, but I found out that Eduardo Verastegui and Manny Perez were both in the film Sound of Freedom.
Oh, really?
And I even in the Sound of Freedom, I didn't recognize it. We seen that. I didn't recognize either of them in the movie. So, but it was a very good film.
That was too, yeah. But I like Bella. Bella, the ending was enlightening.
Yeah, it was. It did not end
the way I thought it would.
Yes.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, thanks for watching. We enjoy watching these films. I mean, they're old DVDs and stuff that we have, and sharing with you. And so, if you like what we do, subscribe, hit the little bell, and you'll get notifications. And you guys have a great day.
Take it easy, folks.